Frank, this is exciting to sit down here and chat with you because, as I was telling you earlier, when you walked in, one of the things I remember about you when I came in to United Ag was how comfortable you made me feel. I remember when I was at board meetings and stuff like that, when we used to have our events, I used to walk around and see, where is Frank and Elsa sitting? And I used to go sit next at that table. I don't know if you noticed, but that's a very strong thing about you, Frank. So it's exciting to be here and just talking to you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This is a great opportunity to talk a little bit about a lot of different things that are going on in the industry. So thank you for the invitation.
And before we get started, so I am Kirti Mutatkar, just for our listeners, the president and CEO at United Ag. You want to give an intro to who you are and what you do?
Sure. I am the one that do the toilet cleaning and no, I'm just kidding. I'm the CEO of a company that I found. It's AgroCoco / Agrofruits International. Been pretty much involved since 1994 in this industry. It's been a lot of fun. I enjoy all the aspects of the industry.
You said 1994 you've been involved in agriculture?
Yes.
And how did you get into that? So you were not born into it, right?
Well, not necessarily. My dad had, in the good old days, he had a lot of farm in Mexico. And of course, one thing now I love what my dad did to me. Back then, it wasn't that much fun because I remember my dad's comment was that during the school, you are with your mom, guys, but during summertime, you are all mine. And he used to, expecting us to be at the farm, helping out in all the different tasks, just like a regular worker. And I used to hate that, but in a sense, I guess that really set the basis for my work habits and the love of the agriculture industry. I pretty much grew up during summer times, involved in all the aspects of a farm. From cultivating, harvesting, cattle raising, milk the cows. I've pretty much done everything.
That's a very interesting. Yesterday I was watching this YouTube interview of a famous Indian chef. His name is Ranveer Brar. Mm-hmm. And he said something very similar. He said during summer holidays, he used to do very similar with his grandfather and father. And at that time, he said, all my friends used to say, oh, they've been here, they've been there for vacation, and I was spending this time. But he said, in hindsight, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because that's the reason I am now this world famous chef. Very similar to your story.
And I will not change this. If I start all over again, I will do it the same way.
Do that all over again.
To me, it was probably the greatest education.
So then you've always been involved in agriculture then?
Yes. And the priority in our household was education. So we got kind of pushed to, there were nine in the family, and everybody had to go to school. And pretty much everybody got, I guess, like a title. I'm the only college dropout, but I don't mind. Because I was able to get involved with a lot of different things, a lot of different activities. Tried everything from real estate to... Actually, I used to own a bar.
Oh, you did? I didn't know that part.
Yeah,
okay.
In Anaheim. It's still there. I think it became kind of famous in the last few years because a lot of musicians came out of that bar.
And that was started by you? You started?
Actually, I kind of revamped that bar because it was a mess when I bought it.
I didn't know that history of yours.
Yeah, so I got involved in so many different facets of life. But my true love has always been the ag industry.
Culture. And so from the bar, that's when you moved on and you did start your ag company?
Actually, I been a rebel probably most of my life. I never settled for like a 8 to 5 job.
Yeah.
So I always had more than one activity going on. And I was the VP of a nursery while I was owning the bar. So I kind of did different things at the same time.
Right.
But I got involved with the nursery industry for almost 20 years. And
then how did the coconut thing happen? When did that happen?
Well, it's kind of funny because back in the old days, I guess was in the early 90s, the nursery industry, they really did have a good marketing system. And someone from Australia, Anthony Castellari, I think or is his name, he patented the rose, they call it flower carpet. And it was only 8 nurseries in the U.S. that was allowed to reproduce that plant. One of our nurseries was one of the ones that had a permit to reproduce or propagate that plant from cuttings. And I had a really hard time with those because the cutting got rotten, either because if I used peat moss, it was too much moist retention. If I used perlite, it was too dry. So I was playing around with different things, and I remember my mom's garden always had the most beautiful roses that I can remember. And so one time when I was on vacation in Colima, visiting my younger brother, we were talking about the problem that I had with this rose.
Yeah.
And he said, one of my friends' dad had mountains and mountains of a product that they've been using, like the ones that we used to use for the roses at home.
Right.
So he took me there. I took a sample, brought it back to the States, and played with, at the beginning, really poor results, but I keep playing until I was able to find a perfect solution for the rose. And so that was the beginning of this business. One visit to Colima, maybe a couple shots of tequila and maybe a good cold beer and conversation, and that's how this business started. And that was so much excitement when I started noticing the roses propagating and the root system growing like crazy. Then one time when I was really, really excited about, we opened a new facility in San Diego. I didn't know that area, it can get really, really cold. We were not prepared and had to move from Irvine to Valley Center, maybe like 6 or 7 truckloads of the flower carpet rose that we just transplanted, and some were with the peat moss mix and the other was with coco mix. So anyway, we had a really cold weather. I went to visit that facility and I noticed a couple blocks completely gone, dead. And the others next to it, beautiful. So my first impression was, gosh, maybe the sprayer ended up putting a different, maybe herbicide instead of the proper mix, and that's why it got killed. But I didn't realize until I pulled out one of the plants that the ones that were dead, that was the peat moss mix. And the ones that they were alive, it was the coco mix. And I
was
think
that too cold because it was
actually,
cold?
I think what it saves the plants, the water retention on the coconut husk, it really, combination of more water retention, but also the husk or the coconut substrate is like insulation. From that day on, I was completely sold out on the coconut business. You know, I've been in this business since '94, and I still think there's so much more to learn about this wonderful product. I mean, I think we just know the surface of the benefits.
So what exactly, if somebody's listening, what exactly is the product? Where does it come from?
Well, see, like the beauty of this product and is like a waste product from the coconut fruit.
Okay.
So like in
The husk.
the coconut tree, after you dehusk the fruit,
Yes.
that product in the old days, they used to burn it, or they used to use as probably energy, perhaps. And but it wasn't that utilized properly because, I mean, some of the people in my hometown in Colima, they use it to make or burn the bricks. So when they make the bricks, they use the coconut husk. But the advantage, or at least the things that I know now about the coconut husk, besides the water retention and the controlled temperature, there are so many other good elements into it. Like I've been involved with universities, try to learn more about the coconut husk. And one of the things that I noticed, or they discovered, that the coconut husk has like a fungal activity that is called Aspergillus terris, which inhibits a lot of the root disease.
Oh.
So if you see any plant growing in the coconut product, you're going to see the widest root system that you ever seen. I mean, it's beautiful, it's healthy, and maybe because of that reason. Recently, one of the professors, the people is really involved into the microbial activity in the soil and all that, he sent my product to a lab to test if it had any mycorrhizas, and apparently has a few of those mycorrhizas within the that generates within a natural way, that it also helps obviously the plant growth. So and I guarantee you there are so many other things that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Whether it's from Peru, Chile, Guatemala, Mexico, and even here, like in Oxnard area, a lot of the blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, tomato, cucumbers, they've been using 100% the cocoa to grow hydroponically. And so it's saving a lot of fertilizers.
Right.
So you use a lot less fertilizer, you use less water. So bottom line, you end up getting more for less.
But can it be used across other, everybody, right? Looks
Everybody.
like anybody can use it.
I mean, like we have one customer testing in a big pot avocado tree.
Okay, yeah.
I probably will send you a photo because, I mean, it's amazing that this short avocado tree loaded with avocados.
Yeah. So how much of that is, are people using this then, or people are educated? I mean, I mean, when you talk about this, right, I mean, it's sustainable, less water, less fertilizer, and all the other benefits, the less of tillage of the ground, right, the soil that is needed, all that goes away with this, right?
Exactly. I mean, in 1994, when I started this business, I think it was only two of us doing this. One, I think the company name was Millennium, which I think it was from India, and my company. And we were the only two in a trade show in Ohio. Columbus, Ohio is supposed to be one of the biggest nursery industry trade shows. It's like the mecca of the nursery industry.
Right.
And back then, it was only two of us. Now, everybody wants to be involved. Back in those days, if you ask, let's say, 1,000 people, maybe one knew about the core. And now you ask probably 10 people and probably 9 knows about the product. So it is making progress.
And coconut usage has also gone up in the last couple years, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
from health food standpoint, coconut water, coconut, everything.
Everything, yeah. And I mean, like I remember when I was introducing my coconut fruit, the first company that really got interested in my program was Frida's. And I remember they got really excited because I came up with this coconut fruit that I removed the hard shell, peel all the skin,
Right.
and put it in a vacuum seal. So it looks like a white ball that all you do, you just kind of push through the meat with a
Straw, something, a strong
straw.
Yeah.
Then you can drink the water, and
Yeah.
when you finish, you can cut down the meat and eat it as a snack. Actually, I think that was in 2001, before like this Madonna and all these other people start promoting the water.
Yeah.
I think the culture changed a lot in the States.
Agreed.
In the good old days, the only coconuts was available in the stores was the ones from Dominican Republic.
Right.
And that was a really dark, mature coconut. And right now, I mean, every store you go, you're going to find the young coconut, you're going to find the brown, you're going to find every possible mix of coconut. So that's great. That's a great...
Agreed. Because when I used to go to India, that was my thing to do, right? I always had coconut water because we didn't find it here. And now you find it all over.
All over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah. So that's the beauty. And in Mexico, culture is changing too. We have a program. I mean, right now we have one big facility where we do all the coconut fruit processing, and that one is in Colima. But also we have 4 facilities that do the grinding of the husk. But also at the same time in the state of Guerrero, we have a place where we propagate the coconut plants and donate it to the farmers to refurbish their farms, because I mean a lot of the palm trees are pretty old, maybe 70, 80 year old.
Right.
So now the beauty that when I traveled the West Coast side, like from Colima all the way down to Oaxaca, there's a lot of new coconut tree plantations. And I feel good because I feel that we were this...
you started, you're the pioneers.
We were the pioneers in this revolution.
It's like what you're saying earlier, it helps water, it helps the different things that you don't even know. I'm sure by what you started as being a pioneer, even for the Guerrero, right? That's the place you're from, Akali. It must have been from an economy, from helping people in that neighborhood or the cities. You've had indirect impact in very different ways, looks like.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. And I mean, I feel so good when I listen to the people, like in the communities, especially in Guerrero. Guerrero is one of the communities that, unfortunately, all this time they were like the handouts. In other words, they were depending on the government to support them. So the state of Guerrero, one of my partners described the state of Guerrero as the 2-legged table. One leg was the tourism, and the other leg was the government. So that was the only 2 incomes, so to speak, for the state of Guerrero. Now we build a 3rd leg onto this table that is more stable, because I mean, just in our group, we probably hired a direct maybe 250 employees, but indirect, I mean, all the people that is collect the husk, all the trucking companies, you can see in the communities. Now they're building houses. I mean, it looks better.
Nice.
The economy that is getting into that communities
Right.
are very, very good. I remember one day when I was visiting one of our facilities in Guerrero, one of these guys came to me, and he was one of the people that used to bring the raw material, the husk, into our facility.
Right.
Our facility is like a recycling center that,
Right.
you have all these little trucks coming in with husk and you pay them by the cubic meter. And so this guy was saying, Frank, I used to go to the U.S. I had to pay the coyote so much money. I have to endure living with 8 or 12 people in a little tiny garage room. And now I was away from my family. Now I'm making more money here, and I'm with my family. So, I mean, that kind of make me realize that the effect that, us, a little company, it make in a family.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden the nucleus of the family stay together, the economy is good, they're happy, so
they don't have
yes.
that is very fulfilling. That's
a great feeling.
Yeah, you just not just helping the soil, but you're helping the community. I know earlier we were talking about this new thing that you're working on called Uncle Frank's. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Actually, I have a couple young partners. I mean, they are in the industry also, but they are young kids. I think one is like at 36 and the other one is 38. And they're in the marketing world, as well as selling some of the agriculture products. And so they approached me, and I guess they were looking at me from a distance and seeing my work. So they approached me and came up with this idea that they want to be part of my business. And they did a sketch of my ugly face. And
Handsome face.
then presented to me as, okay, we want to do like an added value product with the coconut-based product, and we want to call it Uncle Frank. So at the beginning, I was kind of, I laugh at the picture, but, I started kind of realizing that it really makes sense to make this other step, like what I did with the fruit. Now I can do the mixes, which is going to be the basic 4 different mixes. Uncle Frank label, so to speak. One is going to be 100% cocoa that can be used basically all purposes, including like for if you have any kind of a spill of gasoline or any hydrocarbon based product, the best absorbent for that is cocoa. So, they can use it for that. They can use it for growing any kind of plant, including cannabis. It's very popular in the cannabis industry. They use the 100% cocoa too. And we're going to have another mixes, but every mix that we're going to be making is going to be based on 2 things. One, that is going to give a very good results to the end user, and 2, that is going to be regenerative, environmentally friendly, and it's going to be loaded with a lot of microbial activity. So, it's going to be a fair price, but high quality, because I want to make sure that if they're going to call it Uncle Frank, make sure that the results are going to be good. Otherwise, I don't want to get involved in that. But my son got really, really good at making good mixes. So he's going to be in charge of the mixes and the quality and what's going in, and also been involved with some of the PhD people that knows all about the microbial activity. So we wanna get into this business, but the right way. And actually, one of the, I don't know if you ever watched that movie, Kiss the Ground.
No, I do not.
Okay. It is, the Kiss the Ground is a good way to probably tell the people, hey, we can do a better job in growing plants or, produce fruit and vegetables without tilting and all that.
But, okay, I should go check it out.
Anyway, one of the producers approached me, and we are kind of right now working on the possibility of doing some mixes for them too. But the Uncle Frank is a done deal. Is going to go forward in the next few weeks. You may see my ugly face in maybe Home Depot or some garden centers.
So people listening to this, if you see Uncle Frank's, then you know who that is at Home Depot, right? Coming soon to the Home Depot next to you. Frank, I've known you for so many years, and I this is amazing, right? How you intentionally and unintentionally impacted so many different aspects of people and the environment and the soil. Now, going back to the comment when I was saying, right, even the reason when I came into United Ag, and like I said, I kind of at first you feel like an outsider, you feel different, and you always made me feel comfortable. And I seeked you out at events and stuff and made sure I was sitting next to you because that's how you made everybody feel. I'm sure that carries through, right? And it looks like you are a business person. You are an entrepreneur. You've always done that. But deep down, you have a awesome soul.
The way we grew up and were taught by my parents was that you always have to respect the people.
Yeah.
And I don't care whether if you're businessman or you're a regular worker, if you treat the people with respect, you're going to receive the same thing back. I'm not the only one producing corn in Mexico.
Yeah.
But I think I'm the one that most people come to, and perhaps it's because we treat everybody the same way, whether you buy one bale or you buy 100 truckloads. To me, it's the same. As a human being, as a person that you're dealing with, and that's the way I am.
Yep, because through United Ag, I'm also testing out or finding out my experimentation with United Ag is if you are the people person, if you're a relationship person, does that help from a business standpoint, right? So you are a business person and you started with the people side of it, and look at where you are today. And that's the same thing earlier we were talking about where we have grown from United Ag and where we are today is very similar, because you start off with doing the right thing and it leads us to the success, right?
Well, look what you've done in 8 years since you took over.
Yeah.
It's amazing, the difference, and everything has to do with the leadership, the way that you're dealing with people, the way you focus your goals and how you work with the people.
Right.
Because yourself, you will never going to be able to achieve the things that you have achieved with the group of people because your leadership. And I think that goes the same in every step of the journey or your life, whether it's family, whether it's business, whether it's friends. I think it's the same thing. I mean, you can be a mean person and you end up not being that great, or you can be a human being and treat everybody good, and I think that's a great for feelings.
Yeah. I mean, for you to say that, Frank, it makes me a little emotional because I looked up to you and you've seen me through all my struggles and you've seen me. So thank you for saying what you said. Thank you so much, Frank, for coming down. And this is awesome. It's always a lot of fun sitting down with you. And actually, some people are like, Manoj, every time your name comes up, you're the guy with the cigar, right?
That's right.
So usually at our events and stuff, Frank is always surrounded by people, and he is an amazing, amazing soul. So thank you for being part of United Ag. Thank you for coming down, and thank you for being a friend.
Well, thank you, and really, really congratulations for the job that you've done so far.
Thank you. Thanks. That means a lot, Frank. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you.